Hey, this is David Beckham, Breeze Flippers. It's the midweek update. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to talk about AI. I'm not going to talk about tools and different things that I use. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about being a part-time reseller. I'm going to show you a little bit about what we go through, some of the struggles that we have, some of the things that we're trying to overcome, and we're going to talk just some candid thoughts about what is going on and how this works for our life. Maybe you're thinking about getting in the reselling. Maybe you're already in the reselling. You've been doing this for a while. Maybe you're feeling underwater or overwhelmed. Maybe this will help. Don't know. So I know that there's some things that I've had to go through and struggle with and make some changes, and we're still struggling with some stuff. You know, it's not an easy thing. Everybody thinks that reselling is great. You watch these videos, these people talking about these big flips and all the things that they do, and they don't talk so much about the back end of it, right? There's some stuff that goes on. It always looks so good on video, and you know, hey, let's be honest, sometimes it is good, but there are some struggles that go along with it, some real life struggles that you have to deal with. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to show you how we keep our inventory. I'm going to show you a little bit about our business and talk candidly about it so that maybe you can relate. So we'll talk a little bit too about what's sold, because it's not been a great week so far, but hey, you know, it's the middle of the week and things always pick up and we've got a lot of offers out. So we'll talk about that as well. So let's get into it. So before we pull back the curtain on this little business, let's talk real quick about what's sold. Not a lot so far this week, and be honest with you, it's not that wasn't really untypical. Last week it started out slow, finished out great. So we're excited. We got a lot of stuff that's dropping. We got stuff dropping every day. That part of that big Pokemon plush buy I made, some of those are dropping. I'm getting a lot of offers back on those. So I think those things are going to probably sell. But I'm going to pop up on the screen what's been sold so far on Monday, and we'll talk about that real quick. First of all, I did sell another comic. I love the comics. That's our bread and butter right now. The Amazing Spider-Man 363 from Marvel Comics 1992. It was near mint, almost perfect. This comic looked really, really nice. Sold it for $17.09. That went out with free shipping. And most of the shipping, again, I do free for all the comics. It typically doesn't cost me much more than $6, maybe $6.50, depending on where it's going. That's including the box. And the Gemini mailers are, you know, $1 a piece. If you buy them in bulk, which I do, they're about 99 cents. So anyway, but that went out, and then the next thing is sold, we sold some more video games. Another one of our bread and butter items. We sell video games at least weekly. But this one was a PS3 game lot. It had Battleship, Tiger Woods, number 13, Disney Infinity, and Skylander Swap Force in it. And sold it for $13.72. I got $6.99 shipping, I believe, on that. Then the next thing that sold was a mug that had been in our inventory for a very long time, and I think it was on sale for 20% or 25% markdown. It's a Queen's mug, number 12. It's made with love from England. It had this heart crown white and it's red. It was a cute cup, but I only paid, I think, to be honest with you, I think I paid maybe $1 for it, or 50 cents. I actually paid 50 cents because it also had a saucer that wasn't really matching, but I sold it last year, and ended up getting only $5.69 for it, $8.99 shipping, and it did cost about $6 something to ship. So it is what it is, but I mean, it's gone, it's out of the inventory, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't buy a lot of mugs anymore, just not really, unless they're really, really unique, and then I'll pick one up. The last thing that's sold so far today is a book, and this is Superman Unchained. It's a hardbound book. Superman's coming out pretty soon, so I have a feeling some of these are going to start selling and picking up. This one actually sold for $15.29. It will go out with free shipping, so it will go out. I don't think there's advertising in it. I don't know. I'll have to look, see. But it'll probably go out media mail. My guess, media mail. Maybe. We're going to try it. Anyway, but yeah, that's going to go out, and today that I get $15.29. Again, it was on sale. It was 10% markdown. So that being said, we so far have about just over almost $75 for this week so far. That's just, you know, not too bad. I've got some offers that I'm considering right now. Somebody sent me an offer on one of the plush that I have. And I was going back and looking, I actually way underpriced it. So, and they sent me a $20 offer, and going in there and looking at it, I'm like, I can't find one for less than $49. I only had $29 to begin with on it. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at it and see, because I didn't realize it was that rare. So we'll see. Maybe I'm not gonna take the $20 offer. I'll probably just respond and send them a little bit less, a little bit more on that. But, I'm not trying to gouge anybody either, but I also just listed today, and there's already 12 people that have been watching it. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure somebody's going to come in, may even convert it to an auction and see what happens. So anyway, back to our subject. Okay, so I watch a lot of YouTube, and I'm sure some of you guys do too. And I've seen some amazing flips out there. I've seen some amazing resellers. A lot of the resellers that I watch are full-time, and I'm envious a little bit, right? Because being a full-time reseller would mean that I could devote all of my time and energy into something that I love doing. Now, it's not that I don't love my day job. I do love what I do. I like what I do. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I like it. But I like what I do, or else I wouldn't be doing it, right? But to be honest with you, it's a challenge to have a part-time business. When we started this 3 years ago, well, a little over 3 years. Now it's going on 4 years. It was 2021 when we really got started. I've been on eBay most of my adult life, to be honest with you. Started back in 1997. I was actually on Auction Web before that, sold some things on that, and then converted it over to eBay. And I did sell some things during that time. So I wasn't selling a lot of stuff. I wasn't like a full part-time reseller. I was just doing, here and there. When I needed money, I'd sell stuff on eBay. And when I needed to buy things, I bought stuff on eBay. This was prior to Amazon, right? So eBay kind of was our only place to buy stuff at that point. So I bought a lot of stuff off of eBay. I'd always look for great deals if I could find it. And honestly, even when Amazon really started kicking in and started having stuff, I would still go back and forth and look and see, where am I getting my best price, eBay or Amazon? And to this day, I still do the same thing. I look on eBay first because I want to support my eBay friends out there. But then I go to Amazon and see if there's anything there, or see what the speed of shipping is if I need it faster. So I was on eBay, but 3 years or 3.5, 4 years ago, 2021, we made a decision that we were gonna, make some extra money. We made a decision that we were actually going to do Amazon, and then realized that Amazon, it was a lot of work for a little profit, and you would have to have a lot of items to really make that work, and sending stuff in and doing all that stuff. It was just a lot of work. So we were going to do eBay to give us seed money for Amazon. Then we realized eBay was a better deal, right? We were making better profit on eBay. We were selling stuff. We were enjoying it. But it all started really very simply. So it was very simple that we wanted to just have a few things. We grabbed stuff around the house that we were like, hey, we need to get rid of this. Let's get rid of it. We cleaned out stuff. We cleaned out clothes. We cleaned out bins. We had storage. We had some stuff in the attic. We just pulled stuff out and sold that, right? And it sold really well. We did really, really good. We had a lot of collectibles, a lot of Disney stuff. There was just all kinds of stuff that we had. It sold. It was great. And so very quickly we moved from just a starting, seller to a top seller. We were, moving pretty quick on this, and started really going, and started realizing, wow, we've sold most of the stuff around our house that we wanted to sell. Now we need to start looking things and start sourcing. So we started sourcing stuff and going to garage sales. Now, that was something that we had never really done. We've done it kind of in the past, but it was always just for stuff we needed. And trust me, we had a lot of garage sales. Every year we would have a garage sale and sell off some of our kids' stuff that they no longer could wear. And we had 2 girls, and they had a lot of clothes, and they would sell off every year. They sell some of their toys so they can get new toys and different things like that. So we always had garage sales, but we didn't go to many garage sales. But when we did, we'd go and find stuff for the girls or for ourselves. So we decided, well, let's start going to garage sales, see if we can find stuff. So we started doing that. So here's what happens. The first thing that happens is there's 3 things that we've been dealing with. And I'm going to talk about the 3 things today. And that first one is the 3 things that every time it's going to be the inventory monster, the Space Invader, and the time thief. All right. Those are the 3 struggles that I have. And we'll talk about this. And then after I'm done, I'm going to show you guys what we deal with. So the first thing is inventory, right? We first started this, we only had 1 shelf in a closet. And then that shelf filled up. And then we put it on another shelf in the same closet. and that shelf filled up. And at this point, we were starting to go, I got to start getting some organization or something here. So I got some bins, and I put stuff in the bins. Well, as stuff started selling, I started realizing, well, I'm going to need more bins, and I got to figure out, now that I've got 5 bins, I can't find where's that stuff at in the bins. So the first thing we had to kind of do was think, we need to get an inventory system. So by the time we had gotten to maybe 10 bins, and honestly, 4 of those bins were hats, because at that time I wanted to be a hat seller, because hats were easy to store, they were easy to find, and they were selling really well. And that was our bread and butter at that time. So we decided, well, let's get an inventory system. So we bought some SKU numbers, basically just numbers that started at 1,000, they go all the way up to like 5,000, right? But these numbers were little round tags, and we tag everything, and then we labeled our bins with a letter, right? So, or number. So basically, M is for miscellaneous, MB is bin, MB1, MB2, MB3, and then we put the tag number there, so we knew that item was in that bin. Now, is it organized by numbers in there? No, but at least I can go there and I can look in there and go, here it is. Okay, it takes me no time, right? I can't even imagine some of these people that have, I talk about Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, because I do enjoy his stuff, and he's a super nice guy, and I'm amazed that he has no inventory system. Some people that have no inventory, it amazes me. But they're also, it's their full-time job is to manage their business. They're going to know where their stuff is. Me, I was not knowing where anything was. I had to have an inventory system. That was the first thing. We had to get a handle on the inventory. Now, part of that is once it kind of starts getting there, you have that inventory, we start getting all this storage, then you got to start dealing with basically the death pile, right? So sourcing became the funnest thing. And honestly, sourcing is the fun thing, right? We love the source. We'll go out, and on the weekends, that's what I do. I get up, I'm up at 5:30, I'm out the door by generally about 6:15, trying to hit the first sales at 7, and I'll stay out there most of the morning until about 1 o'clock. In the heat right now, it's about 1, because that's about when the sales start shutting down. But as you know, it gets a little cooler, or in the springtime or in the fall, those days can be a little bit longer. We've been out as long as 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon still looking for stuff to buy. So we come home with this massive amount of stuff, and then the next thing you got to do is you got to deal with it, right? So we're looking at it going, what are we going to do? I can remember last year when I went to, and I found on Facebook the guy that was selling all the video games. And I went out there and I looked at everything, and I started going through his stuff, and we were talking back and forth trying to come up with a deal, right? And I was like, man, I wanted to buy everything, and I was excited about it, but I was scared to death because I didn't know what to expect. So when we finally came to basically we came to an agreement of about, I think it was $790 total. And I say it was in excess of 800 units, but I couldn't count it. I think it was probably closer to 900 units of stuff. So every game, everything that I bought, all the action figures and all of the, there's just tons of games, plus N64, SNES games, all kinds of stuff, right? So when I bought all of it and paid him and got everything in the car, I was so excited. Got home, showed Sherry, my wife, everything, and we were just like, wow, this is great. This is going to be fantastic. And then the stress hit. It was like, oh my God, how am I going to test all of this and do all these things? And I only had like so many game systems, so some of it I couldn't test, and I had to have someone else look at them, or I had to just look at the disc and take a chance and say, this is perfect disc. It's probably not going to have any issues. And we did do that on a lot of them, and knock on wood, had no problems. But, some of the stuff, and we didn't list it. If it was tested, we said tested. If it was not tested, we didn't say it was tested. So, but we also didn't have but maybe one return out of all those games, and that's not bad. And it was just because one of them it worked on my machine, didn't work on theirs, and that was an Xbox 360's game. So anyway, so the whole point of that was I looked at that, and so I thought, well, the first thing I had to do is get them out of the racks, because I bought the racks and everything. Had to put them all into bins, got them all into bins, organized them by game type, and then so PS3s, PS1s, Xbox Ones, all of them were in different bins. And then I'm looking at these bins, and I had to stack them halfway everywhere in the house. They were all over the place because I didn't want to just put them out in the garage yet, because that's the inventory that we're selling. It's already listed. So I had to go and find places for it. And then every day after work, I was listing. And I listed for 3 months. I'm not kidding you. It was every day for 3 months. It took forever to list those. They're not fast because you have to list them, list the games. I put the information in there. I try to do a good job, take the pictures. So all of that to be said, it took a good part of 3 months. And that's not, that's a couple hours or an hour every night, and then trying to do the listings and get them up and do all that stuff. So that was a lot of work. It was me by myself. It wasn't anybody else helping me on that. I think Sherry took some pictures. She did some pictures of them, but it was just easier for me to sell similar, grab the information, copy it, paste, do all that stuff. And that was before I was using AI, guys. That was really, I was kind of using it, but not really for that at that time. So I was really just doing straight up sell similar and do all that stuff. So once we got that done, we had 5 bins of games, and I didn't have room for them out in the garage, so I had to put them in another closet. So we had 5 bins of games stacked up in there. Now we've sold all through 3.5 bins now, so which is great. So last year we were great at selling those, but it was very much one of those situations where it was stressful because the bins were everywhere. We were trying to get these things done, and honestly, that took up all my time. And we didn't stop sourcing. We kept going out and finding more stuff to buy because we had to keep feeding that beast, right? And that's part of the problem with the whole business. You keep feeding that beast. Every time you feed it, it wants more. and what is it about it that wants more? It is really all about the fact that we get we get this feeling of like elation that we're like, woo, we sold something. Taking a $1 plush this weekend and selling it for $159 was an awesome feeling. It was incredible. I can't tell you how exciting that is. High fives, it was everything. The work to get there though is a lot. So, but we would replace that work, and we want those feelings, elation. We wanted all those excitement, right? We kept buying, so we still buy, and we still to this day buy. And I actually had to take a few days and say, I'm not going to buy. I'm stopping right there. It would be days where I couldn't find many garage sales, so I didn't go out, and we just would work on the stuff that we have. And that's what we've been trying to do. So that's the one thing I'll tell you is getting organized, get your inventory under control, and get your death pile under control, because that is one of the biggest stresses that I can find. You find these great, big, great, wonderful buys. You feel like you just won the lottery, but then when you get it home, you're like, oh, there's so much to do. So, you got to get it done, because that's going to pay for the buy that you made, and it's also going to pay for future buys, right? So that you can get more stuff, right? So I think, that's the biggest thing I will tell you is kind of get a handle on that. Get your inventory figured out, and a place that you have it, that you're comfortable with, and a system that works for you so that you can be efficient with your time. Because time, that's the other thing that we'll talk about in a little bit. So the next thing is this Space Invader, right? So when you start thinking about the space, inventory takes up space. Now, fortunately, I'm gonna say 90%. I'm gonna say 85%, maybe 80% of our inventory is stored in our garage. And I'll show you that here shortly. And I will say that it's pretty efficient for us, but it's not great, right? It's hot out there, so we can't store anything that could be damaged by heat. So we keep all the stuff that's, damaged, it can be damaged by heat or problems with heat. We keep those in the house. So now we have stuff in the house, and there's stuff everywhere, right? So for a while, especially when we did the game buy, and now with comics, in comics, that's my new nemesis. I love collecting comics. I have my own collection of comics. You can see some of them. Some of them are for sale. Some of them are not. And we'll go through and I'll show you what I've got. But I've got almost 25 or 30 short boxes of comics, okay? So right now, comics are our bread and butter, and we do sell a regular amount of comics. I'm also doing a regular amount of Dibdit auctions with comics and doing quite well. We had a great one last night. If you're not on Dibdit yet, go to dibdit.com, use Breeze Flips. You can get $5 off your first $10 purchase. And I would love it if you go do that and you just sign up and you tell me you saw me on the video and you signed up from that, because we're trying really hard to build that, and it has been fun, and it's a great time. So if you're just now getting into reselling, you're probably not wanting to do live sales, that's fine. Go out there and look at it. It's a great place to source. Now, off that subject. And so, but yeah, we were trying to figure out everything that we could to where we could store stuff. And right now my closets are full. I have 2 closets, my office closet, which used to be a bedroom, but now it's an office. And then our spare bedroom closet's full, and our garage full, and some of the living room has been taking over. So this is a problem, and it becomes a problem, and we have to try to get a handle on it. Now, my wife is very forgiving, and at the very beginning, she was not thrilled with all the stuff. If it starts to collect on the tables outside or different things, she gets a little frustrated, and I understand too, because I can't function in dysfunction. I've got to have some organization. While you may see some of the stuff in my office doesn't look like it is, but it is somewhat organized. I mean, I have it at least where I know stuff is, and I can find stuff, and I can do what I need to do, and I have places to work. But inventory's taken over a lot of stuff, and so we're working on plans to try to work that out. So I will tell you this, is that if you're going to become a part-time reseller and you're going to get serious about it, you're going to start getting a lot of stuff, and you've got to figure out where to keep that stuff so that it doesn't intrude into your life, right? It's going to a little bit at some points, but you got to move it out and get it out of there fast. Now, I use the kitchen table a lot for sorting comics or doing stuff or putting stuff out there. It's generally taken up and put away like really quick, because like the other night I had 3 tables out and the kitchen table, and I was sorting comics and getting them organized and stuff for auctions and for resale and to do on eBay. So it took a lot of time, and it took a lot of space. I had counters, everything filled up, so stacks, and then put them all together, put them in the back into the short boxes with dividers and such. So it was a lot of work. My wife would look at it and go, "You're going to clean this up, right?" I'm like, "Yes, dear, I'm going to clean it up." She woke up the next morning completely clean. So you got to make those little sacrifices every once in a while. But this business can't take over your life. It can take over every single spot you have. So I will tell you, make a space for it. Just make a space and just say, it's not going to go any further than this space. And even though right now it's creeped out a little bit for us, but we're doing so many auctions and so many different things, and we're selling so much stuff on eBay right now and stuff that we're doing, that it's not really bothering me. And we're getting ready for the 4th quarter. Trust me, that's going to be big, because I know some stuff are going to sell. So that's my second thing. Space Invader. Take care of that space. Don't let it seep too far into your life that you can't get out of it, okay? Now the last thing, and I think personally this for me is the biggest thing, is that time thief. This is probably one of the sneakiest parts, because this business, sometimes you don't expect it, but it takes a lot of time. It looks so flexible for most people. If you're thinking about reselling, you're thinking, "Oh man, this is great. I can just pop a few things up, do this." It sounds great, but it can become a beast. I mean, it really can. You're feeding this beast all the time, and you're realizing, man, an hour a night's not going to do it. So I'm not joking when I say I clock out at 5 and clock back in at 5, because I have supper ready and I'll do that. And then usually by 5:30, 5:45, I'm getting ready for either an auction or I'm listing or I'm doing something. Or I'll have an auction at 7 o'clock, I'm done at 8, and then I'm listing until 10. It's a lot of work, guys. And I do it, one, because I love it, but I also do it because I know that the end result is going to be that of a successful business, and one that I can retire into. That's my goal. Everybody has a different goal. Yours may be to pay a bill. Yours may be to go on a vacation, or it may be just to have some extra pocket money. It really doesn't matter what your goal is, as long as you have that. Mine is that I want to retire soon. I would like to retire in the next 3 to 4 years. I'll be 63 and maybe 64. And that's when I want to retire. But I don't want to retire and take my pension and my retirement income. I want to live on this, and that's the goal. And Sherry wants to retire in the next couple of years as well, so that she can work this full time. And when we can work it full time, it's more like a job then, right? So we can work it full time and spend a little bit different time and do more stuff. But I'll tell you right now, guys, it takes some time. When we say spare time, there's no such thing as spare time. It blows me away how much time we do spend on it. It's not just the sourcing and listing, it's cleaning, it's fixing, it's answering customer questions that come out all the time. It's packing things up, making sure it's safe to get out there. It's taking stuff to the post office. It's sourcing. It's all the different things that we're doing. It's very easy to burn out very quickly in this business. And as a part-time reseller, that burnout is a lot faster than you think. I have hit the walls on many occasions. As a matter of fact, just a month or so ago, I hit a wall and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I couldn't do the stress. It was between everything that was going on with family and moving my daughter and trying to worry about where she's going to end up and all these different things that go on. Those stresses build up and it was just a wall. And I had to step away for a couple days. And doing these videos helps. I'll be honest with you guys. Talking to you guys, even though you're not talking back, it does help. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I enjoy the comments that I get and the people that tell me they appreciate the videos, and I hope that it helps. But I will tell you that if you don't get a handle on your time, it can eat up everything, because I've given up some hobbies for this. I've done a lot of stuff. Now, I've had to give up some sleep. I've given up time with family to be able to try to keep up with the business and do stuff. So it is a beast you have to feed a lot, and time is the thing that it eats. I will tell you that much. So get a handle on your time. That's my other advice. Get a handle on your time and make sure that you allot time for yourself, time for your family, time for church, maybe church first, all these different things that are important to you, but give that time and make sure you do it, and then you fit this in with everything else, and it'll come through. It'll start to work. You'll find a pace. I have finally found a pace that works for me, and I will tell you that Friday nights, unless we're doing an auction or something, because sometimes we'll do auctions on Fridays, but that's kind of our relaxed night. We'll go out and get tacos and margaritas, and we'll relax on a Friday night, and we'll watch some movies or TV, or we'll do something, and because we don't want to be up late, because we're going to go sourcing on Saturday, right? And then Saturday we will come back and do some work and try to do some things, but do stuff around the house that we need to do, because that's also got to be done. I got grass to mow. I still got to mow it sometime this week. So a lot of stuff, but you got to, start treating it like a real business, in the sense that you want to take it and be consistent in it, and you want to set your task and make sure that you're setting those goals, setting those tasks that you can complete, being realistic though, right? So you know that if you're going to do, maybe you do one day you do all photos, maybe one day you do listings, and you can do listings and time those out so that they drop all week long. That's what I do. I do listings about 2 to 3 nights a week, and I set them to drop over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I have listings right now all the way up through the end of July, almost the end of July. And I'll have more, and then I will probably take some time this weekend and do some more photos and do some more listings, and then I will just sit down and do them in batches. So that's kind of the way that I work the business. You might find a better way to do it, but and again, we use our tools. I use AI. I know, but I do use some AI to help me with that, and it does work. So now, anyway, I'd be curious to see if this sounds familiar to any of you. If you've been here this long, I appreciate you guys for being here this long. If you get a chance, please like and subscribe, and let's talk about this. If any of this sounds familiar, the inventory, the anxiety, the stress, any of that, drop me a comment below and tell me what your number one biggest struggle is. I'd love to talk about it. I'd love to hear what you do and how you maybe overcome it, because this is a tough business. It's a great business. It's a great part-time gig, but it's a lot of work. So I'd love to see how you deal with it as well. So anyway, that's the whole thing. So how do you fix this? Well, you just put some limits. That's really what it is. You put your limits on time. You put limits on how much inventory you can handle. We had at one point 2,500 or 20, maybe 25 to 2,800 items in our inventory. We have now scaled that down to about 1,000. We're keeping it right around 1,000 items of stuff that's selling. And a lot of that stuff, comics, and I'll show you where I got those in a minute. But part of it is, like I said, you kind of got to get your life back. You've got to make sure that you put a limit on how much space you have. You got to put a limit on how much inventory that you can deal with, and you put a limit on your time. And that's really what it boils about. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to take you through the house. Yeah, I'm going to give you a tour. I'm going to show you what we've got going on and show you some of the struggles that we deal with, but I'm going to see what you think. So anyway, and then we can come back and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, so here's the quick tour. All right, and I will show you guys first of all. All right, so look here. First of all, we talk about comics. I said I have 25 short boxes of comics. Well, this is what I've got right now. And some of this stuff has been in the auctions. We've been doing a lot of auctions and stuff, but you're looking at pretty much what I've got. So out of those, 4 bins are actually listed on eBay. So there's a lot of comics there. And I've got probably 2 more bins that need to be listed. And then on top of that, I've got at least 2 more out in the living room that have to be listed. But that's just part of the comic thing. So talk about death piles. All right, you see games down here. We see some different things. We see a lot of little things over here. Some of that stuff has got to get listed here pretty soon. And then you see these are all the 4 bins of the Playboy magazines that I'm going to eventually sell. I don't even want to show you the closet, but I'll be real. We're being real about this. So I want to show you guys, this is one of the closets, and you can see inventory and you can see cards, and it just needs to be cleaned. At some point, we're going to get it cleaned. So that's real, guys. That's real life. So now we talk about how it also takes over everything in here. I'm going to walk you guys into our spare bedroom. Now, I was told I had to clean this up, and I did. All right. So now I have a shelf in here, and this shelf has a lot of stuff on there that we're going to be selling or have purchased. Now, these shelves up here are my wife's collectibles and my daughter's stuff, who still has stuff here. This is also where I test games. You got a little TV up here. And then, not to be outdone, another closet full of inventory, okay? More stuff. A lot of it's listed, a lot of it's not. But listen, that's part of the struggle, right? But it's at least able to have a person sleep in here. So my daughter has a place to sleep when she comes to visit, and we've got some people coming. Now, we don't keep stuff in our master bedroom. We've taken, that's off limits. We do have some stuff out here in the living room. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to figure out a place to put this, but this was part of some of the auctions that we did. I had to shove them somewhere, so they're in here. And then you go over this little spot, yeah, there's 9 more short boxes of comics. Okay, yes, I have a comic problem, guys, and I love it. I have fun with them. I can't help it. All right, last thing. So we got stuff that's been photographed, and now this has got to get put out, and that's going to get put out probably today. We're going to put it in the inventory. This is shipping room, also known as the laundry room. I joke about that all the time, but we have everything pretty much set up, boxes and different things that I use mostly, a little laptop, everything's already here. Got stuff up on the shelves, so everything you see is, this stuff that we use for shipping. And then a lot of the stuff on the shelf over here at the top shelf, some of that stuff is for sale. So more stuff, and then some of the cabinets. So we've used space as much as we could to try and make it work. Now here's the real struggle. Here it is, guys. All right. So this is the garage. Now, it's a nice 2-car garage, and guess what, guys? I can still get 2 cars in here. There's a car, got mine, okay? I can still get 2 cars in here, but this is our inventory. This is smaller than it used to be. I still have a place to hang my bike, which I ride every day, but this is my inventory. So we have everything listed in bins. You can kind of see the numbers on them. If there's no number on it, probably means they're shipping supplies. We get a lot of shipping stuff. My wife gets bubbles from work. She gets stuff shipped in all the time. You can see all this stuff here. So we try to keep it organized. So we are organized, and then this is all our extra boxes. So we have all this. So as you can see, it's organized. So this helps us kind of keep things going. And I'll be honest with you, it makes a big difference that what we've been able to do, and being able to kind of make it more efficient, right? So now that's where we keep everything. That's really a big picture of how we're laid out. Now, it may be different for a lot of people, but for us, this works. So, and we've, set the boundaries. Now I've reached into those boundaries a little bit with the extra stuff that we have, the comics and such, but I'm getting ready to do some big auctions, and I'm going to probably do a whole bunch of bundles, and I'm going to try and sell off some. So last time I did a bundle auction, I sold off 2 short boxes worth. Probably going to do the same thing again, and try to do that in the next couple weeks. So we're going to have a big auction. Again, if you haven't gone to Dibbed It yet, go over to dibdit.com, or you can download the District app and sign up. You can get use my my code BreezeFlips, all one word. You can get $5 off your first $10 purchase off of anybody. It doesn't have to buy it from me. So you can buy things from anybody. Great opportunities for sourcing there though. And a lot of fun too. So anyway, that's what's going on, guys. That is our business. And I kind of gave you a good picture of it. Like I said, you see this part, you always see the nice stuff that's behind me. All the comics that I have, yes, I have a lot. And if you look over here, yeah, I have a lot of graded comics and different ones on the wall. I love comics. Can't help that. It's a lot of fun. And eventually I think I'm going to be doing a podcast about comics. I'm still learning about comics, but I have some friends that know 100 times more than I do, and I definitely want to do something with them. So anyway, I hope this resonated with you. And like I said, if you get a chance, like and subscribe. Leave some comments. Let me know your struggles. I'd love to hear what's going on with you guys in your business. And I'd like to hear if you have the same struggles or if you have different ones. Tell me what they are. Let's talk about it. I'm David Beckham, Breeze Flippers. We'll see you.